I get so much satisfaction seeing like what I was able to accomplish in a day, seeing the actual results in real time. Like, holy crap, I made that thing, and also the process, as you kind of touched on, especially if you're using hand tools. It's almost meditative. You kind of just go off into your own space and focus on the work, and that is really beneficial. I find it beneficial for my mental health. It's a really good way to spend your day, honestly.
Welcome to Collide, your Center for Research and Innovation podcast.
A podcast to ignite ideas, creativity, and innovation through dialogue and knowledge sharing. Welcome to this episode of Collide. So today I'm sitting in the wood and metal shop of our Makerspace at CRI with Stuart Rockwood and Neil Nordier. And on tech, we have Mauricio Rodriguez, our podcast technician, who's always here, but you never hear from him. Hello. And as always, I'm here with you. My name is Mary Perez, and I'm going to be your host today. So I'm going to let our guests introduce themselves. If you want to tell us your name and why you think I've brought you on to this episode of Collide.
Hey, my name is Stuart Rockwood. I'm a local woodworker and furniture maker, and I am very happy to be here because I get to be working on some beautiful projects for the upstairs of the CRI, and also I do a little bit of educational programming here as well, which is pretty fantastic.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Neil. I am the Makerspace coordinator. And what keeps me busy here is getting all the equipment to function correctly, and also hosting some activities and programs, and just to make people familiar with the space and get them in and get to use the space.
Welcome, Neil. So I got these excellent guys here today. I have these awesome people that frequent the Makerspace. They obviously, Neil is always here. Stu is often here, and right now, Stu is working on a very, very special project for us, and we'll talk a little bit about that throughout today's episode. But I have them here with us because there has been a lot of buzz about the wood shop. There have been a lot of people coming in, new people coming into the Makerspace, because of all the activity that is taking place, particularly once a month on Tuesday evenings. So I am very curious, Stu. You're a young guy. When I told people we have a guy who does traditional woodwork at CRI, they were expecting an older person, but you're a young person who's really into traditional woodworking. So can you unpack that for us? So why traditional woodworking?
Yeah, hand tool woodworking is kind of a lost art. If you do a cabinet maker program, I think half of the subject matter is using the CNC machine.
Right.
So, people have been using hand tools for hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of years. Most of the tools that I use are actually from the turn of the last century. Mm-hmm. So it's really satisfying and gratifying to just do something by hand and eye. And I quite enjoy the process. It's almost meditative. It's quiet.
Right.
It doesn't create a whole bunch of sawdust. It doesn't create a whole bunch of noise, which is very important because I have a 1-month-old. So it's kind of nice to not wake him up in the middle of the night. So it's a fun challenge. I do also use power tools. Right. Just for efficiency and accuracy sometimes. But if I have the choice to do a fun personal project, I'm usually at my hand tool bench.
Okay, excellent. And Neil, Makerspaces. So you are here, coordinator on Makerspace. So how did you get into Makerspaces? Or what brought you here, and so what inspired you?
So I think from a young age, I've always been very curious. Opening up things, seeing how they work inside, and that has driven me later in my life to do engineering. So I'm an engineer by trade, and it comes down to problem solving. identify a problem. How are we going to solve that problem? Sometimes it involves making a physical thing to solve the
Right.
problem, and I think that's what Makerspaces is about. It's about designing and building a solution that's going to solve a specific problem for you, albeit like a personal problem, or for your business, or a prototype for a product that you want to use. That's what I think. That's what Makerspaces is about, and that's what
Right.
has drawn me to Makerspaces.
Right. Awesome. And so, just for anybody who's out there listening to us, and you probably hear about CRI, the Makerspace, come and see us. But Neil, you're here all the time, and I want to ask you to describe in your words, like, how would you explain a makerspace to somebody who may have no clue about what is in a makerspace or what it's for?
I think what it comes down to is there are barriers. Most folks think that if they've got a solution, or they've got a problem that they want to solve, they want to make something physical, there's usually barriers to getting that problem solved. And usually it'll be, I need to contract it out to a contractor to come and fix this problem or do this specific project, or I need to go and buy this item at the store. And the maker space is the space that you come to enable you to do that yourself. The tools do look intimidating at first if you've never worked with it, but that is why I am here, and other people are here is to assist us and to help you that have never worked with these tools before, that you can come in. We can give you a quick rundown of what all our equipment can do, and we can give you a quick tutorial, just make you familiar with the tools, give you a bit of hand holding to get you started. And as soon as you're comfortable, we can leave you that you can explore the space at your own pace and manufacture or
Right.
design and manufacture the solution that you want to get done.
Right. And, obviously I work with Neil all the time. And one thing I really, really like about what you do with the public, with people that come in, is you never solve their problem without their participation. So you are not teaching people, you are teaching people to fish. You're not giving them a fish. You're teaching them to get comfortable with the tools. Sometimes people come in and they don't want to touch that computer. They don't want to have anything to do with 3D printing, but they want you to do it for them. And it is a process of educating and really, yes, hand-holding sometimes, but equipping people with the tools and being comfortable enough to use them. That's something that I see you doing a lot, Neil, and it's quite inspiring to see that. So if you hear sirens and noise, whatever you hear in this recording, it is because we're physically in the makerspace downstairs. So we are in the wood shop. So the acoustics may not be the same, but we wanted to be here to record this today because this is where Stu has been working. So before we tell people what you are working on, Stu, I want to hear from you, basically your story. Like, how did you come upon woodworking? What brought you into it? And I have seen you use some of these very cool tools, the traditional tools. I'm fascinated by them. So tell us how you came upon it, how you started, how you got started.
So my dad is probably the best carpenter I know, and he's an orthopedic surgeon. So he does carpentry with bones,
Right.
which is pretty wild. But from a young age, like we had a basement wood shop kind of thing. And, I'd go in there and work on a project. Like my first project that I ever remember building with him was, I think, the Cub car. For Cubs and Boy Scouts, they have the little Cub car races, little pine box.
Right, yes.
And I remember spending a weekend building like this beautiful fastback Mustang out of a piece of basswood with him, carving it out.
Amazing.
And yeah, that was kind of my introduction to it. And, As the years went on, for summer jobs, I worked commercial construction. Eventually, I found myself on the East Coast Trail as a trail builder, being a chainsaw operator. Then I found my way into a cabinetry shop for a little bit, and I really kind of fell in love with fine joinery, and that's what exposed me to all this wonderful hand tool work.
Okay. So can you explain what that type of joinery is, and how is that different than grabbing a nail or a screw in what you're building?
So joinery is kind of what it sounds like. It's joining two pieces of wood together without a mechanical fixture. Often you use glue because, but glue's only good for 200 years. So one of my mentors said, you got to make sure that the joints are tight because the glue will dry out after a couple hundred years.
Okay, yes.
So essentially you're puzzle piecing pieces of wood together to make something functional and structural. Yeah.
All right. And Neil, you've been experimenting with woodworking as well. I see you in the Makerspace, and upstairs comes naturally, but you've also learned to use these tools, and you look incredibly comfortable down here as well. What has that journey been like for you?
The great thing is we've got a lot of equipment here that I really wanted in my own shop.
Okay.
But the thing is, I just don't use it enough to justifying that purchase. I think for me, in the wood shop specifically, the most exciting piece of equipment is the CNC machine that's behind us here, and so we've got a fabulous 4x4 feet CNC machine, and it was pretty intimidating, getting into to work the first time. I do have experience with a previous CNC machine, my personal CNC machine, and but I have to say this is a fabulous piece of equipment, and anybody listening, please come and check it out. It's an awesome piece of tech.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to Stu. Is there a particular type of project that you prefer to work on? Like, you've talked about, having been in construction, making cabinets. I've seen you direct a workshop on making a 3-legged stool, and I know you tried it on Neil first.
Yeah,
right?
Neil was my guinea pig.
What's your favorite type of project to work on?
One of the things I really appreciate about what I do is that everything's different. Like every project has its own challenge, and there's a lot of problem solving with that. And that's the thing I enjoy most about this. Like, you get the gratification at the end of the day that you can actually see your physical progress, which is awesome. But, if I were to pick like one thing, I don't think I'd be able to pick just one thing. As long as I'm doing something with my hands, it's I'm pretty happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Neil? What type of projects do you like to work on when you're down here?
Woodwork specifically. So I've built a couple of pieces of furniture, but I have not used traditional woodworking.
Okay.
So I'm more of the nails and screw type of guy. And what was pretty good with the previous projects, how I built this massive. It's a toy rack for my boy, and it's I think like 7 feet tall.
Okay.
And the base is probably like 2 feet, coming forward, and width is about 5 or 6 feet wide. And the thing is, I looked around, and you cannot buy something like that. And that's an absolute. It's a custom piece of furniture, which is pretty great. But what made it really good? So I ended up designing this thing in Fusion 360, so that I could have exact measurements and to see, okay, this is what it's going to look like, and to have accurate plans. And a couple of occasions I questioned myself. I'm like, but is this measurement really correct that I've got here on my on the 3D CAD tool? And it turned out it was correct. And everything. If you follow the instructions that you did on the 3D tool, everything does fit in and it does work.
Okay.
And I'll see if I can pull up a picture here just to, just maybe they can put it up the podcast.
Sure,
yeah.
Absolutely. So you made something for him to store his toys. Is that what it is?
So previously his toys, it's got too many toys. That's the actual problem.
Right.
And
I think it's a common problem.
yeah, and at first I built this also out of wood. It's a makeshift tree, that I built out of wood, and I thought, man, this thing's going to be big enough. It's going to hold all these toys. No, it is not big enough. It did not hold, not nearly enough all of the toys, and so that's the reason why I built the second toy storage A-frame shelf, I would call it. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So you've said something really, really profound, Neil.
Yeah.
You said you couldn't have bought this anywhere.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
you can't buy it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go a little more philosophical here. You can't buy these things necessarily. And if you can, somebody manually did these things, right? And you also cannot buy that experience. Like I've done the three-legged stool workshop here with Stu. I did a good job because I finally got the legs right. Well, almost right, because I can sit on it. It can hold me. It hasn't broken.
It works.
And it was such a soothing experience. There's no other word for me to describe that experience. Carving that almost round base, because it's not round, it's not perfect. But I'm going to go back to you, Stu. What do you think? How do you feel about the role of what you do in today's society, where we can just go to a store and buy something that most of the time you still have to put together, but it's somebody else made it,
Yeah.
and it's not going to last 200 years.
No. I mean, one of the beautiful things about IKEA furniture is that you get to build it, and I'm using air quotes here, folks,
Right.
yourself. But ultimately, it's just pressboard that was cut out in a factory,
Right.
typically by CNC.
Yes.
There is, personally, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. I get so much satisfaction seeing what I was able to accomplish in a day,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing the actual results in real time. Like, holy crap, I made that thing.
Yes.
And also the process, as you kind of touched on, especially if you're using hand tools, it's almost meditative.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of just go off into your own space and focus on the work, and that is really beneficial. I find it beneficial for my mental health.
Right.
It's
Yes.
it's a really good way to spend your day, honestly.
Right. And I bet you not a lot of people can say that their work is beneficial for their mental health, right? Yes, absolutely. So both of you are here for once a month. I know on Tuesday nights you have a bunch of people here. So can one of you tell me what happens here once a month on a Tuesday evening at 7 p.m.?
Yeah. So Tuesday we host the Western Newfoundland Woodworkers Guild,
Right.
which got going, I believe, in June. And
Yes.
we have close to 20 members right now. I'm pretty sure I've got 18 or 19 people on our email list, which is
Okay.
pretty wild for a relatively small town
Right.
to have that many people show
Yes,
up once
and
a
we
month.
started in the summer
We
when
did.
most people go away. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And also we've had people come all the way up from Codroy to
Right.
come check us
Okay.
out, which is pretty incredible. I mean, really the resources offered by this space
Mm-hmm.
are just absolutely incredible. It's such a great community resource to be able to just come in here and meet
Yeah.
with like-minded people and chat and do things, and also skill share. I think that's a big
Yeah.
part of that particular group is the skill sharing and demos. Neil had a fabulous demo on the wonderful CNC machine here we've recently, which was pretty cool.
So can you tell us a little bit about that, Neil? Like what was it like?
Yeah, so we did a plaque or a sign for the Newfoundland Woodworkers Guild, and it's actually over there. And I wonder if I can go and grab it quickly.
Sure.
Okay, let me go and grab it.
Okay. Mauricio, you're like the fly on the wall, right? Like you get to watch all these things happen. What's your takeaway here? Like what have you seen happen here?
I think that what I love the most is how the community gathers around these tools to create projects, but at the same time to make these bonds, right? I've seen it with the robotics group, and now knowing that every month they can gather to do woodworks is amazing. This is something that I think that everybody should take advantage of, right?
Right.
Like, And in that sense, I'm also curious about if somebody is coming to do a project, they should contact Neil, obviously.
Yes.
But what do they have to bring? Like they have to bring their own materials, or can it be provided here? What happens with that?
So if I can answer that a little bit. So specifically for the wood shop, we ask people to bring their own materials, their own wood, because ideally they would know what kind of wood or what the project is that they're going to work on. And, sometimes people source their wood locally from one of the local suppliers, or there's other suppliers that can source more exotic types of wood. So ideally, we're asking participants to bring their own materials for the wood shop.
Okay.
And so this is the sign that we've done with the Newfoundland Woodworkers Guild. And, this was just a demonstration on the CNC and what it can do, and just something that we whipped up in the afternoon.
So there's a map of Newfoundland.
Yeah.
And there's a tool on the left-hand side.
Yeah, a hand plane. It looks like a
Yes.
number 4 smoother. And one of the things I really appreciated about that demo that Neil ran through was the software for running the CNC. I think that's the rate limiting step for a lot of people, is like
Right.
learning how to use the computer. And Neil did a fabulous job of kind of breaking it down step by step on how to
Okay.
do it. And it's a pretty powerful tool. I believe we use VCarve here.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, which
Okay.
is like I have a personal CNC in my shop, and I use it mainly for templating, and it runs on a different software, and it's kind of Fisher Price Mickey Mouse compared to what we
Okay.
have here. I mean, the 4x4 CNC here is
Okay.
truly an industrial machine, which is
Okay.
pretty awesome.
Okay.
But with that said, we also want to do a demo on your personal desktop CNC with the software that you use, because we do find that some of the folks have their own,
yes.
home CNC
Yes.
setup, and I think some of them are not that familiar with the CNC. And if we can, we'll definitely later do a demo on that one as well.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's VCarve.
So
And is that an open source
So
software, or?
no? So VCarve is a paid for license, and we do have a license in house.
Mhm.
And folks are welcome to come and play with it and experiment it. You can also download VCarve, and they've got basically a trial version. So that'll enable them to play with the software, and they can do everything that our software can, except they just cannot generate the G code. So they can do the whole project, bring it here on a flash disk,
Okay.
plug it into our VCarve, and then just generate the G code and cut it on our machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's good to know. So I want to go back to the Woodworkers Guild.
Yep.
So what would you say it's his mission, and how did you come up with that idea?
So I belong to a different woodworking guild. I lived in BC for the better part of 6 years, and I was on the board of directors there for the Kamloops Woodworkers Guild. I'm
Okay.
actually wearing their T-shirt right now.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I'm so grateful for my experience there, because they had this great mentorship program where I actually learned a lot of different skills from some guys who've been doing this for longer than I've been alive, honestly. And also, there's some pretty interesting offshoots. There was a toy making club, and they gifted.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, and they gifted toys to the BC Sick Kids Hospital every
Okay.
Christmas. And actually, interestingly, in the last meeting that we had, one of our members suggested that we do something similar for our local hospital, which I'm really excited to get off the
Yes.
ground. I think that'd be a really cool thing. But ultimately, the mission of the guild is to skill share with people and provide a forum for like-minded individuals to come and
Okay.
chat about what they're up to in their wood shops.
Okay. So what usually happens when you guys and so it is a mixed group. I've seen men and women come, which
Yep.
is wonderful. So what's the flow, I guess, of your meetings or gatherings usually?
So I think Stu can answer that one better than me.
So typically the format is, we'll have a kind of a welcome. We'll chat about, what's going on within the club. And currently, like I said, we're thinking about getting a little toy making group off on the ground. Then there'll be a little show and tell, so people can bring in their projects. show them off, and then we followed up with a demonstration. So, like I said, Neil did one on the CNC. Previously, we had another member come in and do a wonderful demonstration on how to use the lathe for segmented turning, which is a pretty advanced skill. Something that's on my bucket list of things to build. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of the fall. We've got one of our members lined up to do a demonstration on the scroll saw. He's a fabulous scroll saw worker. There's a whole bunch of different niches in this particular craft, and it's great to grab different people from the community who have really gravitated towards one or the other and be able to share their experience and their knowledge with the rest of the community.
All right. So obviously, this is a Western Newfoundland guild, and there is a lot of interest. Like our emails are, I guess, like I got a lot of emails in my inbox when we advertised that we were going to get this started. But from what you're hearing from the members and people who come in and use the shop, Neil, what would you say are some of the challenges that people interested in woodworking in Newfoundland encounter, and that are maybe bringing it up in the guild?
I think the challenge is probably free time to come and use the shop. So I think that might be a challenge. Another thing that I've noticed with the Woodworkers Guild, we've had folks mentioning, that they've got one guy mentioned he's got, I think, like 3,000 plans how to do different things. So that led me thinking, but what if he can draw up his own plans? Right. And so so I think that is probably a challenge or a barrier there, is how to use not digital fabrication, but how to use CAD applications. So instead of purchasing plans online, that you can just draw up your own plans.
Right.
And so that'll be access to technology. I think those two are the biggest challenges that members are possibly facing now. What would you say, Stu?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's definitely a good barrier. A couple other things too is Cornerbrook doesn't have a good hardwood dealer currently,
right?
Which so oftentimes people are ordering their wood in. Now, fortunately, there is a guy in Deer Lake who does have a pretty good supply, and apparently he's ramping up his supply, which is awesome.
It's great.
And like you said, I think the biggest thing is people have a hard time finding time to pursue their passions or their hobbies. And, hopefully with the Tuesday night DIY nights and being open later after hours, that'll encourage more people to come in after work and, play around in the wood shop.
Yes. So if anybody's interested in the guild, how can they find out more about it? And who should they email?
Yeah, they can email me at spr456@mun.ca. And get in touch and we'll get you set up. And otherwise, just show up at a Tuesday meeting. It's typically the first Tuesday of the month. We'll advertise on Facebook and Instagram and all that and all the socials. It'd be great for people to just drop in and just see what we're all about.
Sure.
So just to repeat, it's 7 p.m. first Tuesday of every month.
Okay, excellent.
I'm curious.
Yes.
Just is there a certain skill level or experience required, or can anybody just show up?
Anybody can show up. We've got people here who have been doing this, again, longer than I've been alive. I'm pretty sure there's a member here in his 70s who's been doing this for 40 or 50 years. And we've got people who've, barely held a hammer. So it's a really cool to have a mixed group. And again, like I previously said, the mission of it is the skill sharing and the information sharing. So, I'm hoping to get some mentorship programs on the go later on. And really, really excited to have this going here.
Okay. And Neil, how can people get a hold of you? Show up at the Makerspace,
so
yes.
the best to get a hold of us is to actually come down to the Makerspace, and we are located at 3 Mill Road, and we're across from the Cornerbrook Pulp and Paper Mill. So we are the big white building across from the mill, and this was the old administration building of the Pulp and Paper organization. And so just pop in here Mondays to Fridays. So we are open Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, 8:30 to 4:30, And then on Tuesdays, we're open a little bit later. So then we open up 3:30 in the afternoon, and then we open until 9:30. So I think ideally for most folks, after work, come on a Tuesday, after work, come by, say hello, and we can get you signed up.
Yes. And we do have a still fairly new website, and that's www.cricornerbrook.ca. And you can read all about our programs, the tools, and sign up for our mailing list. And that way you can stay up to date. And if you want to email us, our generic email is cri@cricornerbrook.ca. So last words, I guess, of wisdom, Stu. If there is a person out there who wants to get into woodworking, what's your best advice?
Just do it. The best way to learn how to do something is just have the gumption to try.
Yes.
The worst thing that you're going to do is you're going to end up with a little bit of firewood at the end of it, which
Yes.
is not necessarily a bad
Believe
thing
me,
either.
I did create a lot of firewood when I was making the legs in my stool. So
Yeah. My biggest advice to anyone who wants to give it a go is to just try, watch a couple YouTube videos, show up at the Woodworkers Guild on Tuesday nights,
Yes.
and come on down to the CRI and try out the wood shop. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. And Neil, if a quick question, do people who come to the guild need to be members of CRI? That's one side of the question. And the other side of the question is, how can people become members?
So to come to the Woodworkers Guild, you don't necessarily need to be a member, just show up. But then we can get you to become a member. And, again, get in touch with me and I'll walk you through the process how to become a member.
Okay. Excellent. And what does the membership get you?
So the membership gets you access to the wood shop and the metal shop. It also gets you access to our top clean makerspace, and there's a lot of fabulous equipment that we have available that the members can use. We have a laser cutter and engraver that can cut and engrave a variety of materials. We have a bunch of really awesome 3D printers. We have at the wood shop we also have just like a really amazing set of equipment. And, I think people just need to come and check it out. It's too much equipment to, talk about on a podcast.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Awesome. Well, those of you who are listening, if you are excited about what you hear, please come and check us out. Come visit us. Come hang out with us. We do have a co-working space in our second floor as well. And if you just don't want to work, if you work remotely, don't work alone, come and hang out with us. That's freely accessible to the public. And if you want to make things, the first good step to take is to come to our DIY nights. That is every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. to 9:30. And once a month, usually the first Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m., come and hang out with the Woodworkers Guild. And, you don't have to stay at home. You can come in and make things, create things, and learn and share with others as well. So thank you for joining me today. And thank you, Mauricio, for your tech support. And
Thank you.
Tune in next time to our next episode of Collide. Thank you.
This has been an episode of Collide, your Center for Research and Innovation podcast.
Generating community and creativity through idea collision.